Have you ever felt that crushing weight in your chest when someone treats you like you don't matter? That moment when their words cut through your confidence like a blade, leaving you questioning your own worth. If you're a high achiever or a leader, this experience is all too familiar, and it can feel especially painful when it comes from people who should be on your team. But the truth is, people will always try to disrespect you, and you can't fight your way out of it. But there is a solution. You see, 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire in human history. Yet he faced constant disrespect from senators, generals, and even his own family. Most rulers would have executed anyone who dared disrespect them. But Marcus chose a different path, one guided by Stoic philosophy. And when you understand what he knew, you'll never feel powerless again. Because the people who disrespect you the most are actually giving you the greatest gift of all. Now, before we dive into the ways Marcus and other Stoics handled disrespect, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Our society often glorifies winning and dominating others. We see it in the ruthless business deals, in the cutthroat political games, in the endless comparisons on social media. It seems like everyone's out to beat you, to push you down and claim victory. But what if there's more to the story? Enter the Stoics, a group of ancient philosophers who thrived in a world full of competition and conflict. Now you might be thinking, these guys are out of touch. They lived in a completely different time. But here's where it gets interesting. The Stoics didn't just talk about how to succeed in a cutthroat world. They lived it. They had to deal with betrayals, insults, losses, and even death, just like we do today. And what they discovered about handling disrespect has stood the test of time. Now let's explore 5 powerful lessons from the Stoics. The first lesson, the discipline of perception. You've probably heard the phrase, perception is reality. Well, the Stoics took this idea to a whole new level. You see, when someone disrespects you, your mind immediately starts spinning a story about what it means, why it happened, and how you should respond. These stories often make you feel worse, like you're not enough, or that you've done something wrong. But according to the Stoics, these stories are just that, stories. They're not necessarily true. Think about it this way. Imagine walking into a room and someone shouts at you for no apparent reason. Your mind might start creating all sorts of stories. They must hate me. Maybe I did something wrong. This must mean I'm not important. But what if, instead of taking these thoughts at face value, you viewed them as a lens through which this person sees the world? Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The man who is easily angered does not consider that the things which anger him are indifferent, and that he himself is master of his disposition." By applying the discipline of perception, you're not denying your emotions. You're simply choosing not to react to them without first evaluating their accuracy. You're asking questions like, is this thought helpful? Is it true? Is it based on facts or just assumptions? By taking this approach, you gain control over your emotional life. Instead of letting your feelings dictate your actions, you decide how to respond. Lesson No. 2. The Reserve Clause. The second lesson from the Stoics is the reserve clause, also known as fate permitting. In Roman times, people would often make statements like, "My ship will arrive safely," but the Stoics realized that expecting perfection was unrealistic. Things could go wrong, ships could sink, and life could take unexpected turns. So instead of saying, "My ship will arrive safely," they would add a simple phrase, "fate permitting." This small addition carried a profound meaning. It acknowledged that some things were beyond their control, and it shifted the focus to what they could influence. When you apply the reserve clause to how others treat you, you're acknowledging that you can't force people to respect you. You can't control their actions or their attitudes, but what you can control is your response. The Stoics believed that expecting people to behave perfectly sets you up for disappointment and unnecessary stress. By embracing the reserve clause, you're freeing yourself from the burden of impossible expectations. This doesn't mean resigning yourself to a life of disrespect. It means recognizing that sometimes things won't go as planned and being ready to adapt gracefully. The great thing is that when you adopt this mindset, you'll find that you become much more resilient and peaceful in the face of challenges. Lesson 3. The View from Above. Now, imagine you're stuck in traffic and the driver in front of you suddenly slams on the brakes, causing you to rear-end them. Your heart starts racing. You feel a surge of anger. The other driver gets out, starts yelling, and suddenly you're knee-deep in a road rage incident. But what if, instead of getting drawn into the chaos, you took a step back and zoomed out mentally? Marcus Aurelius often found solace in this exercise. He would visualize himself standing on the banks of the river Nile, or watching the sunrise over the mountains, far from the squabbles and intrigues of the Roman Senate. In these moments of mental detachment, he could see his problems in perspective. This is what the Stoics called the view from above, and it's a powerful tool for handling disrespect. When you're confronted with disrespect, take a moment to detach yourself from the situation. Imagine yourself from a higher vantage point, like an observer looking down on the drama unfolding below. Ask yourself, will this matter in a year, in 10 years, in the grand scheme of life and the universe? Is this really that significant? This exercise doesn't make you cold or unfeeling. It helps you choose your battles wisely and respond from a place of clarity rather than knee-jerk reactions. Lesson 4. The Transformation of Obstacles. The fourth lesson is one of the most transformative ideas in Stoicism. The Stoics believed that obstacles and difficulties weren't just things to be avoided. they were opportunities in disguise. In fact, they had a saying: the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When you encounter disrespect, it's easy to see it as a setback or a negative experience. But what if instead you viewed it as a chance to practice patience, forgiveness, or inner strength? Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, turned his life's challenges into sources of wisdom. Born a slave and subjected to ridicule and abuse, he could have easily succumbed to bitterness, but instead, he decided to embrace his circumstances and turn them into fuel for his personal growth. Disrespect can be like water to a tree, nourishing growth and resilience. The next time you're faced with disrespect, ask yourself, how can I use this to become stronger? What lessons are hidden within this challenge? Remember, it's not what happens to you, but how you choose to respond that truly matters. Lesson 5: The Circle of Control. Now, let's say you're planning a project at work, and despite your best efforts and preparation, things don't go according to plan. There are delays, changes in direction, and a general sense of chaos. This is where the fifth Stoic lesson comes in: the circle of control. Stoics believed that we have a limited amount of energy and attention, and it's essential to direct it wisely. They divided everything into two circles: things within your control and things outside your control. The inner circle includes your thoughts, actions, reactions, and character. Once you understand this, a sense of calm can settle over you. You realize that worrying about things outside your control is like trying to push a boulder uphill. It's exhausting and pointless. Instead, you focus your energy on what you can influence. When someone disrespects you, ask yourself, is this within my circle of control? If